Now this is all on the video as well. The second half of the video shows you what I'm going to show you now. You'll just get to see it live. All right, so the first thing to understand about this template is there's 2 pages to it. If we look at the bottom, there's 2 tabs. On the left, there's general information, and on the right, it says loan amort, which is amortization. Okay, so that's the first thing. There's 2 pages here. If we go back to the first page and look at the upper right-hand corner, it says red cells equals fill-in, black cells equals auto-calc. So very important that you remember you only fill in the cells that are red. Do not touch the ones that are black. Okay, this sheet is not locked. So if you corrupt a cell, it's going to be corrupted. And this is going to be in the Society backend. So you'll be able to download this anytime you want if you lose it or mess it up or whatever. But just remember, you just fill the stuff that's red, the stuff that black auto calculates. So here on the front page, we have 3 columns. Well, more than 3 columns, 3 sections. This section is for the real estate. This section is for an alternate investment. And this section is for internal rate of return analysis. So you got 3 sections, okay? Now let me just pause there for a second. One of my philosophies, and you guys know this because you've listened to me talk about it many times, is investors have choices, okay? And they're trying to make a decision. That's why this thing is about how to make decisions about money. So I am a real estate fanboy, but I don't just only drink that Kool-Aid, right? So my thing is, I don't care what you invest in. What I care is, what will it do for you? Okay, so I'm very agnostic in that way. And so what you're going to see with this template, one of the reasons that I built it, I'm giving it to you, is so that you don't just tell people what, you tell them why. Okay, and that to me is a very foundational part of these kinds of conversations. Or your initial investment. And in the middle is going to be the cost of ownership. And at the end, it's going to be the future value, which comes from the sale or the recognition. Okay? So what happens when we solve for IRR on a calculator on a spreadsheet is that we get a value that is a percent. And that percent value represents the overall annualized return considering time and money of these 3 elements of the investment. Okay, so that's a super fast IRR summary. Okay, so let me just do this part again, and then you can see it again. So what I said was, in the T account, which is the way that I teach IRR, you have your down payment, or in this case, your initial investment. They're both recognized at time period 0. You have the cash flow, which is your cost of ownership. And then the last one is going to be the cash flow plus the pre-tax sales proceeds. Okay? This is how IRR works. And at the end, you get this percent value. So if we go back to the spreadsheet, which you do see now, right? You see the spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. This is the last year. Okay, and it's contemplating the cost of ownership in the last year. So what the IRR shows us is, in this scenario, it's obviously much smarter to buy instead of lease. It's actually almost twice as smart. Okay, but the thing about the spreadsheet is it allows you to go in and manipulate things to run what-if scenarios. Okay, so in a lot of markets nationally, and I know that real estate is a local sport, but they're telling us basically properties have, to the extent they've appreciated, it's been about 1.5% in the last few years. And meanwhile, the S&P, well, last year it did, I think, like 23%. Okay, so now look at the difference. You would have been much better off renting instead of buying. The par value here, if this is 4%, given this set of assumptions, is about 11.75. Okay, that puts you at just about equivalency of IRR, something like that. I mean, you could do 11.5, you could do 12, but you're getting
What
pretty.
do you mean by par value?
So what I mean is that there's an equivalency, is what I mean by that. Okay. So in other words, what I'm saying, this should actually be 11.75 to get it closest. What I'm saying is, if you look at the internal rate of return right here, and you can make a 4% rate of appreciation on the real estate, you would have to be able to earn about 11.75% on your alternate investment, just about 3 times more, to make this about even. Okay, because remember, a part of the undercurrent here is someone's trying to make a decision. What should I do? Well, if you're making 4% with leverage or 4% without leverage on straight stocks, you're a mile ahead by buying instead of renting. It's far less expensive. But if we look at what's happened, say, in the last 18 to 24 months, we believe the national statistics, and we compare the 1.5% appreciation to the roughly 23 or 24 on the S&P, the inverse is true. Okay, now it's far more expensive to buy than it is to rent. And here's another kind of interesting thing. So I read this article last week about, and I can never remember the letters, like the 25 to 30-year-olds. What generation are they now? X, Y, Z, A, Q, I don't know. But it's those people. Their general sentiment about their lot in life and their place in the world is not that they are going to aspire to become homeowners. They're actually adopting a mindset that they're just as happy being renters because they believe that homeownership is beyond their reach, and in some cases it is, and they're taking their money and they're investing in other stuff. You know, Bitcoin, high-flying stocks, what have you. So my point is, there's been a cultural shift in the mindset generationally, and that's what this article was about. I thought it was kind of interesting. I have no idea if it's true or not. That's just what the article said.